it. I love the things they sell, like it's, you know, it's good quality and well designed and all that, but I don't like shopping here. I prefer to have more personal service. You can never, you know, find, there's never anyone to help, which I find kind of annoying. And well, on a Saturday, the queues, they're enormous. You see, I've got no patience at all, and I just sort of stand there and get angry. And putting the stuff together drives me crazy. All that time standing in the queue, and then you get home, start putting it together, and there are always, well, you know, bits missing. I mean, how frustrating is that?
Sue? Well, IKEA's more like a supermarket than a department store. I mean, at IKEA you get your trolley or your big blue bag and away you go. You see, there aren't many assistants, so no one's like asking you if you want any help all the time. I hate that. I just kind of want people to let me walk around on my own. But I always seem to buy lots of little things, candles and glasses and plants, you know, stuff that I didn't actually plan to buy. But you can furnish an entire house in a day. In fact, we did when we lived in Paris. Well, it wasn't a house, actually. We rented an unfurnished flat and there was nothing in it, obviously. So we went to IKEA and bought loads of things and, you know, just took them home in the back of the car. We were able to put all the furniture together quite easily, and by the evening, we had a furnished flat. And everything was, like, really cheap. I mean, what more do you want from a store?
To ask students to tell you the first answers right after Julia has finished. So, students can exchange notes and then they can tell you, you can ask them, what information they were able to get. And then move on to Sue, right? The same thing, in the same way. Now, here is the script. The words in yellow are the answers. Now, another thing you can do is to make them listen to the whole thing again and have some kind of close listening. That is, right before the yellow words, which are the answers, you can stop the recording. For example, you have, but I'm not a fan of the planes. You stop, and then students should provide, love the things they sell, right? And you can go, you know, in the same way with the rest of the listening, and you can do the same with Sue. Now, another type of listening here is stories. Stories. This is for low intermediate level, more or less. And again, you can have a pre-listening activity. For example, these are questions about stories, what kind, etc. Students can tell each other the kind of stories they like reading, okay, etc. They can even tell a joke or tell a story they may have read. After that, we can listen to this story. Now, the most important strategy here is to try the same as with the previous exercise, trying to predict. For students, it's always difficult to answer questions, you know, as they listen. So, here, these are expressions like sure, etc. So, the thing is that to try to ask them, when do you use this expression? When do you say sure? Or when do you say yeah? Or oh, no? Is it when you are surprised, when you are angry, when you are sad, etc.? Because, as you may see here, this is the exercise. It's a dialogue, so they must fill in the blanks. Now, another strategy is to ask them, read the dialogue and anticipate the answers, right? They may do this in pairs before they actually do the listening, right? So they might do the listening and check their answers. Some may coincide, some others may not, but at least they will do the exercise and I'm sure they will have some fun too. Okay, there's the exercise. Now, another type of story with some exercises, it's to number events which happen in the story. In this case, you number events from 1 to 8. This is really a very short story, and you can order the activities, right? Now, we're going to listen then to number 1, and then we'll do number 2. Listen.
Page 95, Unit 4, Exercise A. Listen to Story 1. Fill in the missing words and expressions.
You want to hear an interesting story?
Oh, yeah.
I heard this really happened.
Okay.
There was this 8-year-old boy who dreamed of going to Brazil. Well, after school one day, he went to the airport, on the subway, and he looked around for a family with lots of luggage and lots of children.
Right.
He even thought to take his passport with him. So, he followed the family through passport control, and then he just waited in the departure lounge.
Right.
Now, when he saw the family get up,
Yeah.
he followed them and got on the plane.
Oh, no.
The cabin crew thought that there was a mix-up, so they let him on and they found him a seat.
Sure.
This kid ended up going all the way to Rio de Janeiro.
No!
Yeah. Eventually he arrived in Rio, he got off the plane, and he continued to follow the family.
Oh, well, what happened next?
Well, the boy lost the family when they left the airport and caught a taxi.
Oh, well, how did he get back home?
Well, he didn't have any Brazilian money,
Yeah.
so that's where he panicked.
Oh.
And he went to the airport information desk.
Mhm.
He told them, what happened.
Right.
And he was sent back home on the very next flight.
Oh, is that true?
It really happened.
Right. Well, as you listened, the last part of the story was not in the exercise. So another interesting thing would be that students might predict, the last words or the last sentence these man and woman might have said. Right. All right. Now, the second story is the story where you have to order things. Now, we're going to listen to that, and you'll see that it depends on the level of your students. They might find it more or less difficult. Again, good strategy is to ask them to read the story and predict the order. Right? They may have some differences, but I'm sure that if they understand the story, they might have the numbers in order, even perhaps before listening to the story. Listen.
Page 95, Unit 4, Exercise B. Listen to Story 2. Number the events in order from 1 to 8.
I have a story, too.
All right.
A young man was going from house to house on his street because he wanted to introduce himself to his new neighbors.
Okay.
Well, outside one house, he saw a big dog on the sidewalk. Now, as he went up to the door to ring the doorbell, the dog followed him. Well, he assumed it belonged to the people in the house, so he paid no attention to it. He just pressed the bell, and the owners, an older couple, asked him in. And the dog went in, too. So he sat down, and the couple gave him a cup of coffee and some cookies. Well, the dog ate one of the cookies off the plate, climbed onto his lap, and just sat there. Well, the young man didn't want to seem rude, so he petted the dog and continued talking to the couple. Anyway, when it was time to go, he thanked them and left.
So, is that the end?
No, when the young man left, the woman called after him, "Excuse me, don't forget to take your dog."
Oh my gosh.
That's the end of the story. Story 2. Right. So, another thing you can do with the story is that after students have checked their answers, you can ask them to tell the story to a class, and they can even change things if they don't remember exactly the details they can change and